Imagine a child looking up at the sky, squinting, curious, and asking a question so simple it feels almost silly. Why does the sun shine? It's the kind of question that doesn't come from textbooks or exams. It comes from wonder, from that raw moment when the world feels mysterious and alive. And then something tragic often happens. An adult answers too quickly because of nuclear fusion, they say, as if those words carry meaning by themselves. The child nods, but the curiosity quietly dies, not because the question was answered, but because it was buried under language. We are very good at confusing names with understanding. We think that if we can label something, we've explained it. But saying fusion is like saying a car moves because of an engine. It's not wrong, but it explains nothing to a curious mind. The child didn't ask for vocabulary, the child asked for truth. And when we give polished answers instead of honest ones, we teach something dangerous, that mystery is something to be silenced, not explored. That's how curiosity gets trained out of us. We learn early that asking deep questions makes people uncomfortable. We learn to accept neat explanations, to memorize instead of wonder. Slowly the world becomes dull, not because it is dull, but because we stop looking at it properly. The sun turns from a blazing, impossible miracle into a diagram in a book, a fact to remember, a thing we think we know. But real thinking begins when we admit something uncomfortable. We don't truly know in the way we pretend to know. The question, why does the sun shine? Why is not childish at all? It's profound. It's an invitation to stand at the edge of what humans understand and to feel awe instead of embarrassment. The tragedy is not that we lack answers. The tragedy is that we stop asking questions that make us feel small, curious, and alive. When you strip away the words and formulas that people often throw at you, what you find is surprisingly simple and yet profoundly humbling. The sun shines not because someone decided it should, not because it has a purpose like we give to things in stories, but because of what actually happens inside it. Deep down, in a place we can never touch, atoms collide with immense energy, their nuclei fusing together in a furious dance. From this chaos comes light, warmth, and life itself. It is a process so precise, so relentless, and yet so ordinary in the language of nature, that it almost seems magical to our human eyes. It's tempting to think we understand the sun because we can write equations that describe it, or draw diagrams that map its layers. But those are only tools, maps that point toward reality, not reality itself. The universe doesn't care about our equations, our neat categories, or our need for certainty. The atoms inside the sun don't fuse because of meaning. They fuse because the laws of physics dictate it. And those laws don't explain why there is a universe or why there are laws at all. They only describe how things behave once they exist. This is where honesty and understanding becomes essential. We often confuse the comfort of explanation with the truth of knowledge. Real knowledge is messy. Real understanding makes you realize how small you are and how little you control, yet how lucky you are to witness it. By removing the labels, by refusing to hide behind familiar words, we start to see the universe as it actually is, vast, luminous, and entirely indifferent to us, yet offering beauty beyond imagining if we dare to look. To truly grasp why the sun shines, we must confront this humility. We must look past the textbook answers and allow ourselves to feel the wonder of it, the blazing core, the collisions, the light traveling millions of miles to warm our skin. That raw encounter with reality teaches something textbooks never can. The world is astonishing, not because we can explain it, but because it exists, and it exists in a way that we can barely comprehend. And in that barely comprehended truth lies the most powerful kind of understanding. Deep inside the sun, the story is almost unimaginable. Picture a place of unimaginable heat and pressure, where atoms are crushed together so tightly that their very nuclei merge. Hydrogen atoms, the simplest building blocks of matter, collide and fuse to form helium. With each tiny fusion, energy is released, not slowly, not politely, but in a torrent of light and heat that will eventually make its way across 93 million miles of empty space to reach us. Every ray of sunlight on your skin is the echo of countless atomic collisions that happened thousands, even millions of years ago. It is a story that unfolds on a scale both enormous and intimate. Enormous in its cosmic scope. intimate in the way it touches every living thing on earth. And yet, there is no intention here. There is no design in the way we might imagine it. Atoms don't fuse because they want to make light or because they want to nurture life. They fuse because the laws of physics dictate it. They obey a script written in the language of energy, mass, and probability, a script so precise that even the smallest deviation would snuff out stars before they ever began. The sun shines not as a gift, but as a consequence of processes so fundamental and so powerful that they make human concerns feel fleeting and fragile. Visualize the core, an ocean of plasma, boiling at millions of degrees, with photons bouncing around in a chaotic dance, taking thousands of years to reach the surface, and then finally streaming into space. Imagine that every second, trillions upon trillions of these interactions are happening, yet each one is predictable, lawful, and necessary. It is chaos, yet it is ordered. It is violence, yet it creates life. It is the paradox of nature, beauty forged in the furnace of indifference. When you truly picture the sun this way, it changes your perception. The sun is no longer just a yellow disk in the sky. It becomes a living process, a cosmic engine whose brilliance is both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Every beam of sunlight is a message from the heart of the universe, reminding us that reality is far more extraordinary than the tidy explanations we often cling to. To witness this is to feel both humbled and electrified, and to understand the sun in this way is to glimpse the raw poetry of the cosmos. It's easy to believe that once we know how something works, we understand it. But that is a dangerous illusion. Knowing the mechanics of the sun, the fusion of hydrogen into helium, the release of photons, the journey of light across space, can make us feel clever, like we've conquered the universe. Yet the truth is far more unsettling. Understanding the how doesn't explain the why. The universe doesn't operate with intention, and it doesn't pause to satisfy human curiosity. What we call understanding is often just a convenient story we tell ourselves so we can feel in control, so we can believe that we've pinned down reality instead of simply glimpsed it. There is a subtle arrogance in assuming that a map is the territory. Equations, diagrams, and explanations are tools, not revelations. They allow us to predict, to calculate, to build, but they do not grant mastery. The sun does not shine because we comprehend it. It shines because the universe follows rules far older and more immense than our comprehension. The deeper we look, the more we realize that certainty is a mirage. Even the brightest minds cannot fully contain the complexity of the cosmos in a tidy formula. This realization can be disconcerting, even frightening, because it strips away the comfort of control, but it is also liberating. It forces us to embrace humility, to recognize the limits of our knowledge, and to cultivate genuine curiosity instead of rote acceptance. True understanding is not a certificate of mastery. It is an awareness of mystery, an appreciation of the grandeur of a universe that is at once knowable and forever beyond us. When we admit that our understanding is provisional, we open ourselves to wonder. We stop mistaking explanation for truth and start seeing reality as it is, immense, intricate, and awe-inspiring. The illusion of understanding is convenient, but the courage to confront uncertainty is where real insight and true excitement begins. It is in that tension between what we know and what we cannot fully grasp that the universe becomes alive to us, brilliant and unyielding, and infinitely more inspiring than anything we can pretend to explain. When you confront the truth of the sun, it shakes something deep inside you. We take the sun for granted, its warmth, its light, its constancy. And yet, when you truly understand even a fraction of what it takes for it to shine, you realize how fragile and astonishing it all is. The atoms fusing in its core, the photons bouncing for thousands of years before reaching Earth, the delicate balance of gravity and pressure holding it together, all of it happens without intention, without awareness, and yet produces life itself. If something so central to our existence operates on rules so vast, precise, and indifferent, then everything we think we know about the world deserves a second look. It challenges our sense of certainty. How many of our beliefs, our routines, our understandings of life are really just comforting stories? If we can be humbled by the mechanics of the sun, how much else have we assumed incorrectly? How many truths have we accepted without questioning? Looking at the sun with real comprehension forces us to confront the illusions we live under about science, about purpose, even about ourselves. It is a reminder that the universe is far bigger, stranger, and more beautiful than our daily perspectives allow. And yet, this is not a call to despair, it is a call to awareness. To recognize that reality is stranger than we imagine is to awaken curiosity. To see the sun not as a background fixture, but as a dynamic, violent, miraculous process, is to feel alive in a way that simple facts cannot give. It reminds us that life, knowledge, and even existence itself are gifts delivered by a universe that doesn't owe us understanding. To witness that is both humbling and electrifying. The sun is a teacher in plain sight. If we pay attention, it forces us to ask deeper questions, to doubt convenient answers, and to marvel at the workings of the cosmos. It challenges us to abandon intellectual laziness and embrace the discomfort of genuine inquiry. When you see the sun this way, your worldview cannot remain unchanged. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, the familiar becomes awe-inspiring, and every moment of curiosity becomes an invitation to confront reality, not just what we wish it to be, but what it truly is. So what do we do with this realization? The sun, so familiar yet so unknowable, is a challenge and an invitation. It asks us to stop accepting easy answers, to stop letting memorized facts replace real curiosity. It demands that we engage with reality on its own terms, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it reminds us of how small we are. The true act of understanding is not in reciting formulas or repeating what others say. It is in daring to ask, to explore, and to admit the limits of what we know. We must protect that childlike wonder, the very ability to stare up at the sky and ask questions that shake our assumptions. That spark of curiosity, the desire to know, to see, to feel, is far more powerful than any certainty offered by textbooks or tradition. To honor it is to live fully, to participate actively in the story of the universe rather than passively observing from the sidelines. Every question we ask, every assumption we challenge, every mystery we embrace makes us part of a grander understanding, even if we never fully solve it. And here is the most important lesson. Reality is far more exciting, strange, and magnificent than our comfort zones allow us to imagine. The sun is a blazing reminder that the universe does not conform to our expectations, and that our purpose is not to control it, but to engage with it honestly. When we let ourselves be humbled, astonished, and inspired by the truth, even the harsh, indifferent truth, we open the door to creativity, discovery, and wonder. So I urge you, do not settle for easy explanations. Do not allow curiosity to be buried under convenient answers. Look at the sun, look at the world, ask the hard questions, chase the mysteries, and let the realization of how the universe truly operates ignite in you a lifelong passion for inquiry. Let it destroy the illusions that limit you, and in doing so, allow reality itself to transform the way you think, the way you see, and the way you live. The universe is waiting for your questions, so ask boldly and let wonder lead the way.